Hello and welcome to ATech. My name is Akshay and today we will learn what are the four pillars of OOP in C#. And first see what is OOP, that is Object Oriented Programming, and then we will see what are the four pillars of OOP. Now we will not gonna be discuss all the four pillars of OOP in this very tutorial, but we will be discussing them simultaneously with every concept that we will be learning in a later videos, so don't worry about them. But in this tutorial we will learn what is encapsulation. Okay. Now first of all, what is object oriented programming? So it is a programming style which deals with the objects which can contain data and code in the form of fields, that is data in the form of field and code in the form of procedures. So now we know what is object. We have learned that when we have learned what is class and struct in C# in previous videos of this tutorial series. So if you guys not aware about what is object, so please check that video first in order to understand this better. And we know we can write a code by using simple procedures, by simple functions, or like 2-3 lines of a code in a main method. But this C# language is extensively used with object-oriented programming. That is code we write that we have to put under a type. So here class is a one type of class is an example of a type. So everything we have to put inside a class. Otherwise it gives an error. Because why? This object-oriented programming style is extensively used with the C# language. Okay, so that is nothing but an object-oriented programming which deals with objects. So and we will see them in action, so don't worry about that. Why we have to put everything inside a type, that is inside a class, so don't worry, we will see that in action. And what are the four pillars of OOP? So abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. These four are the pillars of the OOP, that is object-oriented programming paradigm. Okay, by using these four concepts, or what we can say, by applying these four concepts, our application is said to be a very good application, a very well written application. Okay, and why we will see that in our upcoming videos, that why we should use these four pillars of OOP in our application. So today we will learn what is encapsulation, but remaining, that is abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, that we will be learning simultaneously with the different concepts that are used in C#. So but if you guys want me to do a separate tutorial series, that is OOP concepts with C# and as well as there are solid principles in C#, that is also a part of OOP. And if you guys want me to do that separately, to make videos, that is tutorial series on that OOP separately, then please comment in the comment section below and I will make that as well. But anyway, we will be learning these four pillars of OOP with different concepts of C# simultaneously in our later video, so don't worry about that. But today we will see what is encapsulation. Okay, so for that let's just switch to Visual Studio. Okay, so for encapsulation, so now we have already learned what are the properties in C#. That is the previous video of this tutorial series itself. So if you guys have not watched that, so please watch that first in order to understand what are the properties in C# in a very great detail. And if you guys already aware about the properties, then you guys will understand that better. So no problem is there if you guys well aware of that already. So okay, and for that to show you, to make you understand what is encapsulation, what I will do, I will create one class here, a separate class. Okay, let's just create a class and name will be a student. Okay, student class, and inside that let's just have some fields. I will make them public and I will tell you why. That's for the purpose of encapsulation and nothing else. Okay, so let me take one field, that is public int. So student can have a ID. Okay, so whatever database like any application will have, they will have an ID, a unique ID of student. So that is why there can be a field of ID, there can be a field of a name of a student. Okay, like this. Okay, student can have roll number, that will be in a int. Okay, like this. Student can have, or only this much things we will consider, because anyway we will be learning an encapsulation here, so we don't have to take a very real world example here. I just want to show you that what is encapsulation. Okay, now what I will do, let's just create one method. Okay, and again, what are the methods, that also we have learned in very great detail in this tutorial series. If you guys not aware about that, please check that video also, and you will find that video in this tutorial series. That is the name of that video is methods, static and instance members in C#. Okay, now coming back to this video, let's just create a one method which will print these details of the student, that is ID, name and roll number. So public void, and we know why we take this return type as a void, because when we want to print something, or maybe when we want to return nothing. Okay, so this void means nothing. We don't want to return anything, we just want to do some stuff inside this method. Okay, and the public void, the name of the method will be there, that is print details. Okay, like this, and we just want to print these details onto the console like this, console dot write line, and we will give some meaningful message here, student details. Okay, and let's just take another console, so that that will be coming after this console line, that is this first message, whatever we are taking after that. If we take this fresh console line, so it will come after that line, and that also we have learned why we take write, or why we take write line. Okay, the difference between both this write and write line method, that also we have seen. So here I want to print the details of this employee, that is this ID, name, roll number, ID plus, or maybe what we can do, let's just print something message like ID equals to ID, and we know how to concatenate that. We have learned that string concatenations also in this very tutorial series. If you guys not aware about that also, please check the video on them as well. Okay, so I want here, that is name of a student, name is equal to plus, and I will append that name here, and console dot write line roll number equals to plus, and I will append that roll number to that message. Okay, like this. Now this class is ready, that is we have these public fields, and we have one method, public method, which will print the details of this student, and we know how we can do that in a main method, how we can invoke that object of this class by creating new keyword. Okay, like this. If I want to create an object of this class, that also we have learned, okay, in the previous tutorials. Okay, so student s is equals to new student, and that's how we make an object of any class or any type. Okay, and now we know on that object we can call these fields as well as these methods. But again, keep in mind, what if I would have make this as a private instead of a public? Then we know this private cannot access, not have an access outside this class, means any user or anyone who wants to use this field, he cannot use that if it is a private field. And we have learned that what is private and public. But anyway, we will be learning in a very great detail about all the access modifiers that are used in C#, that is public, private, protected, internal, everything that we will be discussing in a very great detail. But we know what is the basic access modifiers, that is the use of basic access modifiers, that is this private and public, that we have learned in previous tutorial videos. Okay, so now if I make that private, so we will not gonna access this ID, it will not gonna give us in an IntelliSense as well. Okay, so if I put dot and if I try to find that ID, okay, so it is not able to find that ID. If I want to make or want to set that ID as a 10 like this, so but it is throwing an error. What it says, student ID is inaccessible due to protection level. So that is why we have to make this public. But there is a flaw by making that as a public. That's what we will gonna see this in this tutorial, that what is encapsulation, why we use encapsulation. there is a big flaw. We know as soon as you make this field as a public, then what are the consequences that we have learned in the previous tutorial, okay, of this tutorial series. If you have not watched that, please just check that out. Why we don't make this fields as a public? Because we know as soon as you are making that public and you are giving a user a full control of whatever value he can put here. He can put value something like minus 100 like this. He can give this value to this ID and no one will stop him to do that. Okay, so that is why these public fields are very dangerous. We should not get negative values or whatever values that is not acceptable in this ID. So that is why we don't make that public. But now that how we will overcome that, we have seen that in a previous tutorial. We have overcome that flaw using properties. Okay, so that we will see, and that those properties are nothing but a very good example of an encapsulation that we will be discussing in this tutorial today. That what is encapsulation. Okay, so but let me initialize these values first. So after that we will see how we can overcome that with the encapsulation, and properties are nothing but a very good example of encapsulation. Okay, so ID is 100 and roll number will be a 10 and s dot name will be Akshay. Anything you want to print, I'm just taking my name here. Okay, and we know we have a method inside this object. We can access that method using this object inside this class. Okay, so there is a method that is print details, and if you run this program, it will run. Okay, so it is working fine. Okay, but what is the problem with this approach? I have already told you, someone can do something like this, minus 100. Someone can give a null here in place of this name. Okay, and if I run this, okay, so it has successfully accept that value, that is minus 100, but there cannot be any ID which will be in negative. Okay, so and in front of name there is nothing, because the user has provided null here and we are making that happen. So that is why exposing these public fields directly to the user is a very dangerous thing, and that is why we make use of one of the 4 pillars of OOP, that is encapsulation in C# or in any language. It is a very good practice to use encapsulation. And how we use encapsulation, but let me make one thing correct here. Okay, so that's why it was printing that plus. Okay, now how we use encapsulation, I have shown you, I have told you in a previous video of this tutorial series when we have learned properties. If you don't want these values to be accepted, then we should be in a position to manipulate this value or to validate this value, and for that we can use getter setter, or else getter setter are replaced by properties nowadays. So we use properties. By using properties we can validate this, and as well as properties are public and properties encapsulate these private fields inside those public properties, and that's how we expose those private fields using public properties to the user. So how that we will see. Okay, anyway we have seen that in a previous video, but let me show you that again, and I will make that as a private now, private, and this as well private. Now we know as soon as I will make that private, it will not gonna access outside this class. Okay, it will not be accessible outside this class. Okay, and so for that let me create a public property. So public int property name, that is ID, and inside these properties we know we can take a get and a set accessor, and we have learned that in a previous tutorial. I am again and again repeating this. I will not gonna be explaining all these things, that how these properties are work, but I will be only showing how these properties are a good example of encapsulation. Okay, so now in a set accessor we know we can have conditions like this. If So I will be showing only one. So I will be showing for only one field. Okay, I have already told you we have learned in properties in a properties in a previous video. Okay, in a previous tutorial. Okay, so that is why. So if we can validate this ID something like this ID, but we know there is a built-in keyword, that is value. So this value is nothing but which will be coming in this property. So we will see that, don't worry about that. If value is less than or equal to, or maybe less than 0, so that's we want to check. If it is so, then we want to throw an exception. And again, in the previous video also I have told you, don't worry about this, what is the exceptions. We will be learning them in a very great detail, but for now, to show you guys that how we can break the code if it is not if any field is not valid. So that is why I have to throw an exception here, and let me throw a null argument null exception. Okay, like this. So and I have to make parenthesis, use of a parenthesis here. Okay, and then only we want to return that ID. Here as well we have to use one condition, that is value greater than or equal to 0, then and then only we will return that value. Return this dot ID, like this. Yes, and we know we don't have to use value here, because we know if this value is correct, if we are validating that in this set accessor, and what we want to do, if it is correct, if that value is correct, then in else block we want to set that value to this ID. This dot ID is equal to that value, whatever value the user will enter. Okay, so that we want to store in this ID. Now we can check like this only without that value. So we know, so if user has entered the value for this ID and that is valid, so that we want to check if this ID is greater than or equal to 0, and then only we want to return that. And in else block, if it is not correct, then what we want to do, we want to return, we want to throw an exception, that will be again argument null exception, and that should be an object like this. Okay, so now that is how we can access this private field, that is ID, inside by encapsulating that inside this public property. And that's how you should expose expose that to the user, like this. Now we know we have one public property, that is this ID. So like this. Now if user type or enter any value like this, it will throw an error, and I will show you that. So let me comment this for now. Let me show you that. And for now I will comment this as well, and I will only print ID here. So if I run now, okay, so what it is throwing, it is throwing an exception, argument null exception, value cannot be null. Why? Because user has entered this negative value here, and it is nothing but a property we are setting that value to, and in that property we have this set and get accessor, and in which it is validating that value. It is checking if that value is less than 0 and it is less than 0 because user has entered a negative number, that is minus 100, so it is less than 0. So that is why it has thrown that new argument null exception. So that's how we are now in a full control of manipulating that ID or validating that ID, and we are not exposing that fields directly to the user, letting users type or enter anything he wants. Oh no, now we are making that private field encapsulate inside this public property, and that is nothing but an encapsulation, a perfect example of an encapsulation in C#. That is one of the 4 pillars of OOP. So now again for remaining fields I will do the same thing, but for this, that is why I have commented that before, because I wanted to show you something, and I have already told you that as well in previous video. I have explained that in previous video that we can have automatic auto implemented property as well, like this. So this is nothing but a auto implemented property like this, roll number, and here will be a property which will be a string and the property name is name. So like this, this also will work. These are nothing but auto implemented property, and that we have learned in the previous video. I am again and again repeating. If you guys not aware about this, please check that video. Okay, so what behind the scene compiler does, if you don't take these properties, these private fields as well, like this, if I comment or if I remove this as well, okay, let me remove that. So, and again I will remove this property as well, this with this getter setter, and I will create one auto implemented property like this, prop int id. So like this. So behind the scene what compiler will do, it will create private fields and it will encapsulate that private fields inside this public properties with the same name. That is what compiler will do. It will create property something like this, if and only if he found a property name like this. So their name, whatever the name of the property, it will create a field with that name only, like this, and that will be behind the scene and we don't have to worry about that. So now it will work in the same manner. Okay, so if I give a roll number like this 10 here and name Akshay here, and now instead of taking these private fields, we know we have a properties, that is ID, name, and roll number, like this. And if I run this, okay, now you guys might be wondering that, but even after using properties, let's say we have overcome one situation or we have overcome one flaw. What was that flaw? By making these private, by making these fields private, and we are exposing them to the user with this public property. So our fields are secure, but still user can enter this -100 here. But again, that also in a previous tutorial itself I have told you, if you are dealing with this auto implemented property, then compiler will not provide any compiler will not implicitly provide any logic here to validate your properties. Okay, but I have again told you, if you guys don't want to provide explicitly as well that logic, that validation logic, then there is no problem. You can take this auto implemented property, and anyway we know we can validate these properties inside a field as well. If I do something like this, if this ID is greater than 0, then and then only, and for that only, for ID only I want to make that condition. So we know where is that ID, okay, like this. So here, okay, so only for that ID I want to check if this ID is greater than 0, and that's how you can validate that. So there is no need to make validation logic here itself. So just use these auto implemented properties, and that those auto implemented properties, that is public properties, are encapsulating your private fields inside this, and making your program and making your exam and making your program as encapsulated. Okay, that is it is an example of an encapsulation, nothing but an encapsulation. Okay, so now if user is entering this -100, and if I print that, and before that let me correct some things here. Okay, so not correcting something, let me just give equal to here. Okay, so that it will be a more it will be more readable. And if I run this, okay, so if you guys can see here, it has not printed that ID. Why? Because user has entered a negative number here, that is this -100, and we are validating that in the method here. But again, if user is doing something like this, then we are not printing that message. But instead of that, what we can do, now we know this condition is not true. So in that case, here itself we can throw an exception, or we can give any valid message also. That also we can do. So let me give one valid message here to make user understand that he or she has not entered a correct value. So that also we can do. What we can print here, enter value for ID, that is correct value. Enter correct value for ID. So if I run this, okay, so in that ID section, what it has printed in the place of ID, it is giving an error, or it is giving one message, that is enter correct value for ID. But for name and roll number, it has correctly take that values, because there is no problem. And neither we have provide any validation for that, but I just wanted to show you validation, so I have not used that for every field. But this is nothing but, and this is how you can validate your properties as well. And by using properties, you are making your application based on an encapsulation, and which is a very good practice. Okay, so this is nothing but an encapsulation. Now let's just quickly see the summary. OOP is extensively used with C# language, and we have to put all the data inside a type, that is class. Only otherwise compiler throws an error. Now what this point means, I will show you that. Why OOP is extensively used with C# language? Because this C# language, we have to use make use of objects of we have to use or we have to make use of a class here. That is, this C# language is extensively used with OOP. And if you don't do that, or let me so for that let me just remove this class from here, this class, and let me get rid of all of this code which we have just written. We don't need this. I want to show simply what that point means. I want to show simply what that summary point means. So for that, now I have removed that class, so we don't need this curly brace here as well. So something like this I have done. Okay, and let me get rid of this. Now what's that error says? Just hover your mouse over that main method which is giving that error. What it says, a namespace cannot directly contain members such as fields or methods. So that is why this namespace cannot directly contain this method. We have to put that inside one type, and here what is the type? That is class, is one kind of a type. So if we take one class, that is program, and now inside that you can put anything and it will not give an error. But you guys might be wondering, what if we will remove this namespace as well? Then should it give an error? No, it will not give any error, and that's what it is doing. If I run this, it will run. Let me print a console message, simple console message. console dot write line hello, and if I run this, it is running successfully. It is giving that message hello. So it doesn't matter, it is not necessary to put this code inside one namespace. Namespace we just use only to avoid name clashings. Okay, and that we have learned in a very first video of this tutorial series, why we use namespace and what is namespace. If you guys not aware about that also, just check my very first video of this tutorial series, that is introduction to C#, and you will understand what is namespace and why we use them. Okay, but coming back to this point again, but namespace are not necessary, but every code you have to necessarily put that inside one type, that is this class is one type. So if I remove this type, that is class, from here, so we cannot do something like this. It is giving an error. What it says, a namespace cannot directly contain name members such as fields or a method. Although there is no namespace, it is still giving that error because there has to be a certain type, and under that type only we have to put whatever code we want to return. Whatever code we want to return, and that's how it will work. Okay, like this. So that's what this point says. OOP is extensively used with C# language, and we have to put all the data inside a type only, otherwise compiler throws an error, and that's we have just seen. What it says, second point, class properties are the some example of encapsulation, which is one of the pillars of OOP. We have just seen what is encapsulation and what are the example of encapsulation. That is, I have shown you property is one kind of an example of an encapsulation. So we enclose private fields inside these public properties, and that's how we present them or we expose them to the user. So that is nothing but an example of an encapsulation. But here, like you can see here, class is also one kind of an example of an encapsulation. Why? Because class can contain these fields, these methods, and by creating object only we can access that method and class. We know this thing. We cannot access this instance member directly without creating that object. Okay, without creating that object of a class. So that is why class is also an example of a perfect example of an encapsulation in C#. Okay, that is one of the pillar of OOP concept. So this is nothing but an encapsulation in C#. That is one of the 4 pillars of OOP, and remaining pillars of OOP, that is abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. That also we will be learning in a very great detail simultaneously with different concepts of C# in this later videos of this tutorial series. So don't worry about that. And in the next tutorial we will learn what is inheritance in C#. Okay, so till then, subscribe this channel, share, like, comment. If you guys don't understand anything, please comment. Feel free to comment in the comment section below and let me know if you guys didn't understand anything, and I will try to solve that as well. And we will meet in the next part of this tutorial series. So till then, stay tuned and thank you.